Hey everybody, welcome to another day here at Midas Letter RAW. I'm going to start off with a few of the news items that are moving markets today. Aphria Inc, TSX and NYSE listed APHA announced their proposed acquisition of CC Pharma for 24.5 million euros in cash, anticipated to close in January 2019. CC Pharma is a distributor of pharmaceutical products to more than 13,000 pharmacies throughout Germany. The acquisition will strengthen the company's end-to-end medical cannabis operations and infrastructure in Germany, a key market in Aphria's international expansion. Trulieve Cannabis Corp, CSE-listed TRUL, announced that they've entered into agreements to acquire Life Essence Inc. and Leef Industries. These two acquisitions, expected to close once certain regulatory approvals are received, represent the first operational ventures for Trulieve beyond the state of Florida. Life Essence is a seed-to-sale cannabis company with multiple locations under development in Massachusetts, and Leef Industries is a licensed medical and adult-use cannabis dispensary located in Palm Springs, California. Canada House Wellness Group, Inc., trading on the CSE under symbol CHV, announced they have entered into a strategic partnership with Peak Pharma Solutions. Peak Pharma is a strategic contract sales organization that provides flexible solutions to healthcare companies at all stages of development. The partnership will allow access to pharmaceutical industry sales experts to educate more physicians about the benefits and advantages of referring patients to Canada House Wellness. And National Access Cannabis Corp, trading on the venture under the symbol META, announced that they are opening Canada's first legal recreational cannabis retail store on First Nations land in Manitoba, with a second First Nations retail location in the pre-license inspection stage of development. The two cannabis retail stores will be staffed by First Nations members and operate in collaboration under the company's retail brand, Meta Cannabis Supply Co. Planet 13 Holdings, CSE-listed PLTH, announced a $20 million bought deal private-public offering expected to close on December 4th, 2018. The company hasn't specified where the proceeds will be used other than for general corporate purposes. Green Thumb Industries, CSE-listed GTI, announced they've closed on their previously announced transaction to acquire Florida-based KSGNF LLC. The acquisition makes GTI one of 14 companies approved to operate a medical marijuana business in the state of Florida. GTI will be authorized to operate a cultivation and processing facility in Homestead and up to 30 dispensaries throughout the state. Namaste Technologies, TSX venture listed under symbol N, announced that they've acquired over 28,000 registered users through Namaste MD Inc., and that the Uppy Strain Journal has now been downloaded over 23,000 times. The Uppy Strain Journal, that's a good one. Namaste MD is an online platform which provides free access to medical cannabis consultations through secure video conferencing. The Uppy Strain Journal collects user-generated data on cannabis strains and their impact on various medical conditions. And finally, outside of the cannabis space, in the mighty, mighty land of mining, Signature Resources, TSX venture listed SGU, reported high-grade gold intercepts from its first drill program in the North Zone at Lingman Lake Gold Project. This is the second press release encountering great results, and this year's exploration campaign was conducted with a view to test the grade and continuity of the mineralization encountered in historical drilling over the property by previous operators. Best hole from the drilling program so far, drill hole 1805, returned 8 meters with an average grade of 17.87 grams per ton gold, from 95 meters in depth to 103 meters deep. Hole 1803 returned 4 meters with an average grade of 6.84 grams per ton gold from 82 meters. It's way up north. It has not been what you would call very broadly promoted.
So maybe it's something we should promote.
It's a gold company. And did I mention it's a gold company? So the price of gold, you know, if you looked at a gold chart today, and you stretch it out 5 years, it looks pretty much the same. It's just been kicked back and forth between 1113 and a bit. And despite all of the prognostications and predictions of the predictable usual suspects, the price of gold is trapped. It's a slave to the futures market, and the futures market is one big fraud, and the regulators are collusive on that, and I'm talking about the Commodities and Futures Trading Commission, and it's something that you can't talk about without sounding like a complete fool.
I think my buddy Robin Ross is involved in this. Signature Resources.
Yeah. Anyways, so the price of gold, as long as it's trapped in this little range, is going to be, you know, the main barrier to any interest in gold equities outside of the usual suspects. Are you with me there?
Yeah. No, it's you know what, you got to have something special. Yeah, this is the I know this company really well.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Moving right along, let's talk about. Let's look at the weed stocks today, Ed. We're going to talk a bit about the mining look at this. So the large complex on our NDI screen, which is indeed up, is 98.4326. So in the large cap, stocks are up 3.29%. That's really odd because I had all the stocks down earlier. 9.76% now on the what?
Something must be moving.
Has there just been a reversal in? Oh no, you know what it is.
You looking at it upside down?
No, I think. No, they haven't made any adjustments in here. No, look at this. Okay. Can we get my screen up, please, on the, there we go. Okay, look at this.
What, something happened?
What? Well, no, what's the discrepancy here?
Okay.
It says up 9.76%, but
everything's down.
Everything's down.
That's really, wow.
Isn't that impressive?
You know, that's under the category of more of a religion or something.
Yeah. It's like double speak.
Losing my religion.
Okay, I'm going to assume that something is wrong. I'm just going to assume something's wrong.
Now, something is terribly wrong.
Yeah. Okay, so we're not going to look at the large cap index tonight. What we're going to do is send an angry letter to quote media and say, WTF, MFs, what the hell is going on with our index?
There's lots of things we can do with the WTF, isn't there?
Yeah, actually, but I don't think we want to really draw them out. So anyways, these ones are looking a lot more realistic. We'll just put those up. Let's see, I really don't want to even see that one. I can't enlarge the page. Let's go to the index page on the Cannabis Composite Index for the small caps. So these look real.
Well, that looks all right. Yeah.
Vivo down 10 cents to $1.18. You know, these are the guys up in, is it Nipissing? Nipissing is up there. Anyways, this looks more accurate. Everything is down. Blood in the streets. Blood in the streets.
I wonder if there was anybody coming out saying that, you know, the Americans are not pursuing legal.
You know, after yesterday, it's really quite a shock that even, like, especially the leaders to the downside were the U.S. operators listed in Canada, which I'm going to pull up a little, I'm going to pull up another little, where did it go? Oh, it's only saved on my other thing. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get out of this. I'm going to relaunch it because I think it needs to do that to pick up what I've changed since my last login. Here we go.
Every stock on this list is also down.
Yeah. Well, this is the same list we were just looking at. All right, here we go. Come on, come on. Oh, man. This is painful. Okay, what I want to show you here is this other index that I created, U.S. cannabis stocks listed in Canada. So these are the ones that I know of and follow. And you'll notice that they are all down. Look at Tilray, down $21, 15%.
Yeah, so it's almost given back. Like what happened yesterday?
What happened yesterday is Jeff Sessions resigned.
Right.
And
he was asked to
two
resign.
more states became medically legal. And so this actually makes no sense. It would make sense if, you know, we knew that information was coming and the market knew it was coming, and so they'd sell into the actual event and be building up position in the history. But nobody knew that was coming. Nobody knew Donald Trump was getting the boot. So this market
Donald Trump's
reaction,
getting the boot.
No, Jeff Sessions.
Oh.
But, you know, so this makes no sense to me. So this, again, we're going to chalk this up to Ed's famous old line that the market can remain illogical far longer than you can remain solvent. So, in a day where we should be raking it in, we're losing our shirts. How does that feel, Ed?
I'm just going to reach down here and have a little snack.
What do you got going over there? What do you got? So you got food over there now? Boy. Oh,
Deluxe trail mix.
I had that in my porridge this morning. I'm not going to go back there. You know,
sorry, that was, you know, I shouldn't be
dining while you're performing. That's almost like eating on the job. Anyway, so looking at the small cap indexes, yeah, the big loser today, Vivo Cannabis. I don't understand why Vivo is not, why is that not computing? Yeah, Ed, it would be great if Vivo would catch a bid, but they're not. And so,
yeah.
TerraSend.
Obviously, Dean doesn't watch the show.
No. Or he does, and he's just interrupting. Anyways, yeah, so TerraSend, what do we have? We had some news from Solus earlier today, but again, where did all that news go? You know what? I'm just going to pull it up from down here because we should have it up here to refer to.
I'm going to put up the...
So yeah, some of the earlier news was surrounding Solus. Where did that go?
Isodiolio.
Oh yeah, what did you think about Aphria buying the 13th or the pharmacies in Europe, CC Pharma?
Yeah, interesting. What's it doing?
Aphria? Well, let's just check it out. We're going to go to a chart here. And Apple, you can just really, I'd say it F off. Apple, you know, wants to install something every damn day. Look, now I have to look at that screen just to get rid of, it wants to install Mojave. F off Apple. That's all I have to say. All right, we're going to an advanced chart here. We're going to look at Aphria, Ed. Are you with me?
I'm going to put it up right now.
Oh, wrong symbol, APHA. Look at that. Armor, what? Oh, this is really starting to piss me off. There we go. So yeah, it's down like everything else today. What the hell's going on?
What the hell's
here?
that? Heritage Cannabis.
Yeah, we'll look at that one in a bit. But APHA. Okay. So Aphria, do you own it?
No.
Okay, so it went down on the news that it acquired all these pharmacies. So it's paying 24.5 million euros in cash. Now, the funny thing about CC Pharma is I saw it in a press release of one LP over a year ago as being bought by that LP, which was not Aphria. Then I had some discussions with a company that's listed in the US who's trying to get into the cannabis space, who said they had bought it. And obviously they didn't, because here it is being bought by Aphria in a press release. So I don't know. I guess it was a tough sale. A tough bargain was driven, and finally Aphria was the winner. But the interesting thing to me here is that CC Pharma has distributes to 13,000 pharmacies.
13,000.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
Yeah. Well, that's a big distribution. So
they keep talking about shortages, but then I keep hearing that more and more people are producing more. I don't understand.
Well, the shortages in Canada are due to supply chain growing pains. There's no doubt about that. Ontario Cannabis Store ran out. I got my package 3 weeks late. They were down to 5 or 6 products, and actually yesterday they were back up to 40 some odd. Let's take a look today and see how they're doing. But we're going to do some in-depth analysis on the Ontario Cannabis Store because we're going to challenge them. So some of their packaging, they have a statement on their packaging that says 1 out of 11 cannabis users will become addicted to cannabis. And that is patently false. And so this is troubling to me that our provincial regulator or the provincial vendor of cannabis is putting out misleading statements like that. So let's see. In the dried products, let's see here. Browse all cannabis products. Let's see what we're up to. So 46 products. That was the same as yesterday. Now, interestingly, so I look at these products, and it's really hard to tell who the LP is, that is the publicly traded entity that makes them. So, for example, Edison, we know that that's actually Organigram. The reason we know is because we went to Organigram and saw the packaging. But that's the only way you know.
So they're trying to discourage any identification of a superior brand, or is
well,
is that...
I wouldn't presume to know what their motives are. But it's, you know, so like this Soleil. So let's just take a look at this. 8% THC, 8 to 13% CBD. About this product. Okay, so Soleil is from Aphria. Great. But why not put that information in here? Because some people might be more interested in aligning their choice with who is the actual publicly traded entity.
My feet in your way there, James.
Yeah,
Sorry.
So a little bit spread out over their head.
Yeah.
But so here's the thing. Like if we look at all the companies had some stuff up on the Ontario Cannabis Store to begin with, but it's the companies who have already got it back in stock. Those are the companies that I think that you got to watch more closely because they've managed to navigate the supply channel to get stuff back on the shelf sooner than others. So Synergy, let's see Synergy. So we've got Organigram is back on the shelf. Fantasy Island is grown, hand-sorted Niagara escarpment from Synergy. Well, they're not a publicly traded company, so we don't know who they are.
Fantasy
Soleil,
Island, there's one.
Riff, Sunday Special. Okay. Sativa Dominance Sunday Special from Riff. So, this is the interesting thing. It's like you can't really tie the products necessarily to the producer as they're named in the documentation at Health Canada. And I find that disturbing. So I think that's one of the adjustments that Ontario Cannabis Store has to make.
We've been in a bit of a quandary here regarding the packaging and the numbers on the package.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just looking at this here. You see how this is 14.08, 0, 23.2 to 1. You see, that's the same kind of thing that we've... Is there a pattern here?
Well, actually, so the bottom line here, Ed, if you asked me, you could not sell a medical product and call it medical cannabis with this range of THC. It just wouldn't be medical.
It would be
so the one thing that you'll notice, well, recreational, it doesn't matter how broad the range is. But if you're using something as medicine with a specific dosage that's working for whatever your condition is, you can't have a range of 50% between, that's just not where it is. The other labeling discrepancies where the labeling of equal 1-to-1 CBDs to THC and the actual numbers refute that. That's a different problem entirely. But anyways, so this Redecan company, this is a private company. So they're probably the most visible company in here. Symbol. Let's see, what's Symbol from? Symbol. Quantum Kush. Supersonic Symbol. Indoor grown sativa. So again, not associated with any company name that we're going to recognize by looking at the list of publicly traded companies or companies listed on the license. So this is one of the problems I have. I think they need to identify any of the products with the company that is licensed to produce it, so that if a customer has a problem with the product, they have recourse to address the company responsible for shipping that. And one has to wonder, is that, you know, some collusion among the Ontario Cannabis Store and the licensed producers to protect them from direct communication with the clients? That to me is disturbing. So there's a whole bunch of things about the legal cannabis regime that I find extremely disturbing. The labeling, the packaging is excessive.
It was a lot simpler before, when it was like you just sort of went to your man and said, hey, what do you got? He said, okay, fine, take it.
Well, you know, but you didn't know what was in it. And if you look at the amount of cannabis that didn't make it through the California system when they started rigid testing in July this year, 80% of the product being submitted didn't make it through. So do you think it's safe to conclude that 80% of the product from the black market would also not make it through the testing program? I think that's a fair generality, though I know all of the black market growers who grow organically with absolutely no pesticides are doing backflips right now and saying, James, you don't have a clue what you're talking about. Chances are that if it's from the black market, it's a lot cleaner than it is if it's from the legitimate market. And I'm not here to argue
because
with
you know
that.
what? Yeah, why wouldn't you sell the crap to the legal people? You know,
yeah, why not? Anyways,
okay.
All of the clips that you can see here today, all of the clips that you can see here today are available on our new YouTube channel, Midas Letter Clips. And so if you see something you like that you think was good, you can find it there in a little clip form, so you don't have to find it in this whole hour-and-a-half broadcast. We did that just for you people out there. Next week, Ed, we have mixed martial arts fighter Elias Theodorou is going to be here in the studio to talk about how medical cannabis helps him to be a better athlete. And actually, so he has a relationship.
Wow,
He's
I'd like to
sponsored
hear
by
that.
Solus, which is a subsidiary of TerraSyn. And we're going to have TerraSyn here. We're going to have a doctor from Solus here. It's going to be all about mixed martial arts fighting and medical cannabis for athletic recovery.
Where can I watch that show?
Right here, Ed. You're going to be on. You're going to be doing it. You're going to have to be here, because otherwise, how will we know? I talked a little bit earlier about. We've been talking a lot about cryptocurrency previously this year. It's sort of fallen out of favor since we've been seeing the price of cryptocurrencies crashing. But now that they've sort of found a level in the 6,000 range, I think they're going to start coming back. So we are going to be, we had a conversation with somebody who, Sean Cookson actually went out on the street to talk to some people about the new cryptocurrency guidelines that are coming soon. And we're wondering, will they stabilize the volatile digital commodity? Sean Cookson actually went to the CIX Conference, I now recall is what it was, and he reports from there.
Hi, this is Sean Cookson, and I'm reporting for Midas Letter Live in the beautiful, well, soggy, wet downtown core of Toronto, just outside the Marriott Hotel, where they're hosting the Canadian Innovation Exchange Summit. You could say that the roller coaster ride that is cryptocurrencies might be pretty scary for some, maybe almost as scary as a hairy, humanoid, ape-like creature walking through the deep bush. But I digress. Cryptocurrencies, wild fluctuations, and safety issues are very real concerns for potential investors. So what I'd like to do is go inside, speak to some of these innovators, and see if upcoming regulations will maybe give them a little peace of mind. I scanned the summit looking for people to ask about the upcoming cryptocurrency guidances, often referred to as regulations being introduced. To my surprise, very few people were able to give me any pertinent information on the subject.
I'm curious to learn more as to what regulations are coming in place in regards to governance, but not too familiar with the regulation changes. I know there's been a lot of talk about things being changed, but I'm not sure of the details or as to what is being changed.
I can't say that I do. I didn't know that there was a movement to make policy yet, so no, don't. I'm not sure about all the details of the upcoming regulations. I do know that my understanding anyway is the government's trying to regulate it to keep out those people who kind of cheat the system and kind of defraud people. I'd expect if it's going in that direction, we'll just have a safer crypto market, but the specifics, I'm not sure.
The industry recently learned that the Paris-based Financial Action Task Force, the global watchdog for money laundering, is introducing guidance on the regulations of virtual assets. They're requiring jurisdictions worldwide to license or regulate cryptocurrency exchanges in a bid to eliminate the use of digital money for illegal means, such as money laundering or terrorism financing. Of course, countries can't be forced to implement these regulations, but they will be subject to periodic reviews by the task force, and those who aren't following these rules could be punished by being added to a blacklist restricting access to the global financial system. It seems to be a welcome move by industry insiders.
We're going to have much more, investor-friendly, investor-grade disclosures, because as soon as we have that, then it'll be easier to, it'll be fair. So once this becomes safer for investors, a kind of a level playing field where there's regulatory approvals, then the banks will support and the banks will be part of this ecosystem.
Regulation of cryptocurrencies vary from country to country. Currently, Canada is the only developed federal democracy that does not have securities regulatory authority at the federal level. But that's about to change. The Canadian government announced that exchanges that convert virtual currency will soon be regulated as money services businesses, which are institutions, not banks, that handle money services and transactions. It's a pretty big step towards integrating cryptocurrency into our marketplace.
I'm actually quite bullish that regulation will be a huge win for the virtual currency industry. More enterprise will enter the space if there's generally confidence that people who are in the market, people who are trading large volumes or small volumes of cryptocurrencies are subject to KYC. That will create more order in the market and will weed out some of the bad actors, and that will bring in more good actors.
So, considering the framework for upcoming regulations on cryptocurrency are still being hammered out, just like any footage that has ever been shot of a supposed Sasquatch sighting, the details are a little fuzzy. But one fact that's abundantly clear: change is coming. For Midas Letter Live, I'm Sean Cookson.
Cryptocurrencies, Ed?
You know what? I don't think it caught on.
You think it's over for cryptocurrencies? I don't know. That was a pretty well-attended conference. Why is my idiot face up there like that, looking like a goofballs, smiling like I just got kicked by a horse right in the temple? Oh my gosh. Anyways, so, the currency rules are changing, but we talked to Amber from Outlier Solutions, Inc. Amber was really nice, and she's a specialist in anti-money laundering, and this is what she had to add to that. And now I'm going to talk to Amber Scott, who's the founder and CEO of Outlier Solutions, an anti-money laundering consulting services and strategies. Amber, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Anti-money laundering, how much of a problem is that in the world of cryptocurrencies in Canada?
I don't know that it's necessarily a problem. I would say money laundering is probably the problem, and then anti-money laundering is part of the solution.
Money launderers would say getting caught is the problem. But okay, so how do you go about what is the anti-money laundering landscape looking like right now?
So right now we have proposed legislation. It was released in draft in June of this year, and we'll probably see a final version of that published in the Canada Gazette next year.
Okay.
That will see businesses that are dealers in virtual currency regulated as money services businesses. And some of them are already, if they're already doing some additional activities. But buying and selling cryptocurrencies and other virtual currencies is going to become a regulated activity.
Sure. So anti-money laundering compliance and certification is pretty much part of opening of any account with any financial institution now, and even with some institutions that aren't necessarily financial. So in what are the nuances of anti-money laundering provisions as it pertains to virtual currencies relative to anti-money laundering provisions as it pertains to, say, a normal bank and or a brokerage account for trading stocks?
They're actually very similar. So one of the important nuances is that they haven't rewritten new laws. So it's not like Know Your Customer is going to be entirely new for virtual currencies. It's going to look a lot like opening a bank account or opening any other type of financial services account. They'll be regulated in the same way as traditional money services businesses. So you'll be expected to identify yourself, to provide information about your address, often about your source of wealth, depending on the type of transaction that you're doing. And those are things that I think that most of us as customers are used to being able to do.
Sure. So the use of cryptocurrencies to conduct transactions on markets and in goods and services that are are absolutely illegal, how is it that they are able to get away with those transactions if anti-money laundering is such a entrenched concept within the global financial system?
So getting away with it, I think, is interesting. Financial crimes investigations take a long time. So it takes a long time for law enforcement to collect the evidence, to make an arrest, and then to go through the trial and prosecution. That said, while someone is doing these investigations, I personally think that especially when you look at a ledger like Bitcoin, so you have an immutable public ledger, which is the Bitcoin blockchain, I think that's a terrible way to do illegal things.
Right.
It's really not the best way to do that. And of course, there are other more privacy-intensive cryptocurrencies, but I certainly don't think that cryptocurrency is the main way that people are laundering money.
Yeah, so then is it the case like we've actually seen successful prosecutions of like Dread Pirate Roberts and some other players in the space?
So my favorite in that case is actually Karl Mark Force.
Okay.
So you have an officer who was part of and I can't remember which law enforcement agency he was with in the US, but he actually took part in seizing part of the Bitcoin and then decided that he could steal some of that Bitcoin.
Ooh, I remember hearing about that, yeah.
And he was actually prosecuted for that. And I think that's really fascinating in that even when you have someone who's saying, well, they understand how law enforcement works, he had at least somewhat of an understanding of how Bitcoin worked and still wasn't able to obfuscate that trail. And that was instrumental in terms of that prosecution as well.
You bet. Is it conceivable then that these people are just fail to grasp that immutable record of transaction actually means that the money trail will always be there for everyone to find eventually? They just don't get it and they think that people are going to overlook it?
I think early on, people just weren't really thinking about it as much. People didn't understand how it worked. People still don't, in many cases, understand how it works. So it isn't completely anonymous. It is pseudonymous.
Right.
And so if I can connect your address to you and connect your transactions to you, then I can get the record of all of those transactions.
IP address, hello. I know. Well, that's the funny thing. So the existence of things like the Silk Road and the Tor and all of these things where these nefarious transactions occur, I mean, isn't it really just a case of that global financial enforcement is letting these things proceed so that they can actually track everybody down and arrest them?
Maybe. I never tend to believe that there's someone pulling all of the strings. I think in terms of global financial enforcement, that takes a lot of coordination between different law enforcement agencies in different countries. I certainly would like to see more enforcement in various ways, especially when it comes to crimes like human trafficking, so where you have actual victims that are harmed and profiteering from that. I absolutely would love to see more prosecution. I think that we need more political will for that goes beyond a 4-year cycle.
Sure.
I've definitely seen more coordination in recent years between different law enforcement agencies in different countries because, of course, these crime syndicates operate internationally.
Right.
And so it's not enough for...
You're talking about governments here. No, just kidding.
Sometimes. Sometimes.
Right.
I think government corruption is another really fascinating source of financial crime.
Right.
And that's something that factors into our anti-money laundering legislation. So if someone is a politically exposed person, then you have to look at the source of that person's wealth. You have to pay attention to certain transactions that they do. You have to consider them higher risk than you would the rest of your customers.
Sure. So how likely is it that anti-money laundering provisions are going to flag me as a risk of being involved in money laundering if I'm not. But I mean, so what happens to create a flag where somebody's going to say, well, this guy's got some things that don't make sense. We need to take a closer look at this. And in the meantime, don't give him an account.
Hopefully, most of the time, it's not don't give him an account. It's just we'll monitor it more closely. We'll take a look. We'll ask additional questions. We'll ask for additional information. Most of the alerts that are generated from an anti-money laundering perspective are going to be false positives, which means that an alert was generated, but the activity isn't really related to money laundering.
Right.
And that's because most of us aren't doing crimes. Most of us are just, we're getting paid, we're buying things, we're going about our daily business. I've bought a ton of things with Bitcoin. Most of them are things like computer equipment.
Really?
And so
wow.
You will see those transactions. But most of those things will be false positives. I certainly know even within my own accounts, and I think it's funny as an anti-money laundering geek because I'll get the questions. And so at certain points in time when I'm calling to do transactions, so I've done a prepayment, for instance, on my mortgage where I've paid off more money than I had to pay off. Now I know that this is a flag. So when I call them, I'm very proactive about saying, and here's where that money came from, and let me know if you need any other information. But for most of us, it's just those questions where you sort of wonder, why the heck are they asking me that? Why do they want additional information about that? What are they going to want next? My blood type? Well, no, because your blood type has nothing to do with your financial transactions.
Sure.
But they want to know where the money is coming from and what it is that you're trying to do.
Okay, so in Canada, or in your experience in Canada, what are the crimes that are typically anti-money laundering based crimes that happen in Canada currently?
Any crime that generates proceeds. So really, you have to have a crime where somebody gets paid or profits from that crime in some way. And so you're looking at things like drugs, human trafficking, the dealing of illegal arms. I think a lot of the things where it raises suspicion within the financial system tends to be drug related. So that's going to be particularly interesting now that marijuana is legal.
That's great. Interesting. So then now how do, what kind of clients do you have in Outlier Solutions?
So we work with cryptocurrency companies, we work with exchanges and brokerages, we work with traditional financial services companies, so money services businesses, banks, credit unions, essentially anyone that needs to be compliant from an anti-money laundering perspective.
So if I wanted to start a cryptocurrency called Midas Coin, I would contact you to find out about how to implement anti-money laundering protocols in my system, and probably consult with you on what is and isn't legal within this idea that I have?
Exactly, and developing your policies and procedures, hiring a compliance officer because you would want someone who is overseeing that.
So would you be a compliance officer outsourced for hire?
No, I actually don't recommend that.
Okay.
As much as possible, I think it's very important for reporting entities to have in-house compliance officers. And I say that as someone who's been an in-house compliance officer. It's really hard to know everything that's happening within an organization, especially within a startup. Things change fast, things move fast, and I think it's very difficult for someone who isn't there having that interface every day to really know what's happening within an organization.
Right.
So I think the best compliance people are always in-house compliance people.
Interesting. Okay, well, so you founded this company in 2013, and so you're saying there's not really a problem in the Canadian space so much as there is just a absence of familiarity with the process to become compliant for newer financial institutions involved in virtual currencies?
So I think it's always a moving target. We're always looking, criminals are always changing the way that they launder money. They're always trying to stay one step ahead. We're always trying to catch up to them. So it's always a work in progress. There's always something to do in the compliance field. But I have seen in cryptocurrency that people have very much wanted to be compliant. So we had our first crypto clients in 2013, so the same year that we started doing business. And these weren't institutions that were regulated. They were coming in and saying, we're doing this business. We want to understand the risk. we want to have compliance programs. We want to do that voluntarily, and help us set that up to the extent possible as if we were a regulated entity, because we don't want to be the weak point in the system.
Sure. So how did you come to be an expert in anti-money laundering? Like, what's the educational sort of requirement?
So everything in my career is happy accident. I can take no credit for it.
Great. Same here.
So when I finished undergrad, I saw a job posting at Manulife Financial, and it was in compliance. And with all of the wonderful bravado of a 20-year-old, I said, I have all of the soft skills for this, and I can learn the rest. And bless their heart, someone believed me. And I started there in August of 2001. And then in September of 2001, September 11th happened.
Right.
And anti-money laundering and counterterrorism became a major topic of conversation in the compliance field. So for me, as a relatively new compliance officer, it was new, it was exciting, it was interesting. And I pursued that interest.
And never looked back. Awesome. Well, really interesting, Amber. I'm sure we're going to have you back again as we have more questions surrounding anti-money laundering and compliance. Thanks very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
You launder any money, Edward, ever?
You know, once I threw some clothing in the washer, and there was some money in it. I guess, yeah.
And did you get arrested?
No, because no one knew except me.
Oh, so in other words, the anti-money laundering provisions
don't apply to washing your money in the washer at home.
I see. You expect me to believe that?
Yep.
Okay. Patriot One just put out an announcement that they had successfully partnered with Cisco Systems and now are officially a Cisco Systems Solutions partner.
That's a big boy.
That's a huge move for Patriot One. And again, I want to make it clear, I own some stock in this company. I've owned it for a long time.
How long?
Well, for about a year.
That's not that long.
For me, it is. I like to find opportunities that
I like to think if I make settlement, that's a long time.
Yeah. Thanks. Well, anyway, so the Patriot One machine, I just want to put it out there that so they're not a client.
So what did the stock do on that news?
Well, actually, I'm looking at it right now, and it's not doing much. It's 253.
Can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
I got nothing against anybody here. I'm everybody's friend. Okay.
Well, I'll be the judge of that after I hear what you have to say.
Well,
Edward.
if this is as good a news as they're going to come out with, and the stock's had a big run, and it doesn't react, might be a good idea to sell some stock if you had some, and buy it back cheaper if you really believe in it. Because if this news doesn't rocket, what will rocket?
Ed, I think that I'm going to tell you straight up that I have no plans to sell a single share of this company.
Because you think there's more news coming.
I know there's more news coming. How do you
know that?
I can feel it coming to me, Edward. From on high, it's a sign.
An omen?
No, not an omen. That would presage disaster. An omen. Is there a positive? Aren't all omens negative?
No, I'm not. An omen.
A good omen.
Like
that's a good omen. No, there's a homily for you. You know the word homily, Edward?
Yes.
What's a homily?
A homily is a word that's pronounced the same but spelled differently. No, that's an homonym. Sorry, homonym.
Oh boy. Anyways, we're not here to talk English language.
Is that an homonym?
Ed, we're here to talk about the stock market.
There's antonym, synonym, homonym.
Can somebody please take Edward away for a minute till he stops spewing words?
Yeah, I would just get up and walk off, but you tied me to the chair.
But you could just walk off with the chair tied to you.
No, because you got my feet tied to the table.
Well, Ed, we just don't want you to get up and walk off at the wrong time.
Walk off?
Don't walk off.
You don't want me to walk off.
There's no walking off on this set.
Are you saying you don't walking off on the set?
You don't walk off onto this set. That's what I'm telling you.
Jesus.
Jesus Christo.
Jesus.
Woo! And we're not even high, in case you're wondering.
No
in case
high.
you're wondering.
No,
we're not high.
Low. In fact, I'm so low, I wouldn't mind being high. Hey, bring out, open the jar there.
You want to, time for some
How do you open this?
Edison
How do you
special?
open that?
It's childproof, Ed, so I can't show you. But let's just say there's this little mechanism here. Boom. Whoa! I wish you could just get high that way. You know, this whole decarboxylation, vaporization, smoking bullshit really pisses me off. They should sell it in a format where you just inhale. And I know that people, smart asses out there, are going to say, well, there is inhalable cannabinoids that you can get in a vaporizer or an inhaler that does. You can inhale.
I see your feet coming over.
Ouch! There we go.
Oh!
Oh!
Okay.
So, Ed, let's get serious.
Ask me a serious question.
Okay.
Do I look serious?
What is the name of Canada's largest satellite radio network?
Sputnik. CRTC.
You should be
serious.
Oh, nothing slow about Ed Milewski here. You asked me a serious question. I ask you a serious question, and you get the answer wrong. That's just flabbergasting to me.
So I got it right eventually.
Yeah. Do you want me to ask you a tough question now?
Okay. Yeah, I like the tough category. Alex, you hear about Alex Trebek?
Alex Trebek,
what he's up to?
Former game show host from Jeopardy?
Yeah. You know what? You know what he did? Okay. So he and Dr. Phil.
Yes. Dr. Phil.
Dr. Phil, they've teamed up.
Whoa, and what do you mean?
Guess what they got a product.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's a pill.
A pill.
And it's all natural ingredients.
Okay.
And its purpose is to take on other products such as Viagra and Cialis.
So you're saying it's a sexual performance enhancer for men?
ED.
ED. Ed, erectile dysfunction. Is that what they mean by special ed?
Special ed.
Whoa, what are you saying?
And he says, and he's been saying this, and I've listened to him on the interview saying it makes him rock hard. I'm making this up. If he can say it,
there goes all the women in the audience.
No. Oh. Anyway.
But anyways, Ed, so I want to take a look at, we're looking at the chart for Charlotte's Web right here. The reason I want you to do your voodoo thing with that.
Okay, I'm going to get it up on here and I'm going to use my pen.
I have a position in this company and it keeps flirting with 17, 18 bucks.
Okay, can I, what's exchange?
CNX. CWeb:CNX.
Okay, I'm going to put up a 1 month.
All right.
I'm going to put up a.
You put up a 3 month. It'll be way more.
There it is.
More
okay, I got it. Okay.
So looking at the chart here, you'll see.
Do you own this?
I do.
What price?
$7.
Sell it.
Sell it.
I'm just you know what you pay me for advice. Okay, I'm going to give you some advice. Sell it.
That's actually not what I pay you for it. No offense.
Oh, okay.
Is that what you thought you were doing here?
Okay.
You're here to help me carry this show into the realm of the popular imagination of investors everywhere. So tell me, Ed, why should I sell it? Yeah.
Okay, so I just drew a line there. This thing.
You drew it in red.
Well, I can change the color.
Oh, look at that.
So look, this thing has distinct patterns, right?
Yeah.
I mean, look, is it this simple? I don't know, but all I know is this. This is the third time, and it's rolled over, and it just seems to. Look, I'm saying if you really like this thing and you want to go the distance, sell half your position. You've doubled your money. You've got the same amount of money involved, and then buy it back after it drops some more.
Ed, I'm not going to take your advice.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you why, based on fundamentals that I'm holding on, and I think I'm going to sell this stock for $30 a share or better one day. I think.
Okay.
See, here's what's going to happen. Here's something that all the investors out there need to consider. As soon as it goes federally de-prohibited in the United States, guess what all these CNX listings are about to become? NYSE and NASDAQ listings. And do you know what that's going to do? That's going to take all the money out of the Canadian stocks that is American in origin, and it's all going to go in there. And half of the money that's in the Canadian stocks is going to go there too. So all you have to do is buy and hold, and don't think yourself a trader, because you'll only trade yourself out of massive opportunity. That's my pearl of wisdom for the day. Ah!
Well, I'm just saying, if you held, you owe this at 7?
Yep.
It never traded at 7.
That was the IPO price, and I was included in the president's list of the IPO. I asked.
Now, I'm sure I had my phone right here.
Yeah.
And I was looking at it.
Okay.
Never got a call.
$5 million question for you. Who is the CEO of Charlotte's Web? That's probably why he didn't call you, because you don't know him and he doesn't know you.
Okay, but you know.
Yeah, I know. Do you know the story of Charlotte's Web?
I believe it has to do with the little girl that had serious physical impairment, and she took some cannabis provided by this company, and it cured her of her episodes.
Somewhat true.
Something like that, right?
Close, yeah. Charlotte Figge had chronic childhood epilepsy, and she was having 200 seizures a day, and the doctors would not prescribe cannabis to her. So the Stanley brothers, who are the originators of Charlotte's Web, formulated a CBD oil and offered it to Charlotte's mother, and she became virtually episode-free from any epilepsy. So, yeah, let's just say, do you want to take that call, Ed?
Nope.
You sure?
No. That's another one of my friends that calls me regularly, and he knows I do a show.
Really? I don't know how good a friend these guys must be.
They're not good friends.
They're like, hey, there's Eddie doing a show. Let's call him up and screw him up again.
So let me ask you this.
Okay, so you're saying sell
how many shares? You know what?
50,000.
Technically speaking, I mean, how many shares outstanding?
Well, I'm going to have to go look at another screen for that. Let's go here. This is really odd on our website, but
I can find it on my phone.
Well, I want to look at it on the website because that way the audience will get to participate.
Sure.
Too. And since this is all about the audience, you really don't want to be gazing at your phone while you're doing.
Well, but it's business. I'm not gazing at my phone. I'm trying to find out a question. I'm trying to find out an answer, okay?
So there's 15.818 million shares outstanding.
Fully diluted? Are your shares free trading?
Yeah, I'm positive it's free trading. My broker keeps calling me and saying, you should sell this, you should sell this, you should sell this. I'm like, no, hold, soft there,
Why wouldn't you sell 10,000 just for the hell of it?
Well, why would I sell 10,000 of something at $17 if I think I can sell the whole boatload of it at $30? Well, why would I do that?
Earlier you said 50. Now you're saying 30.
No, I said 30.
Oh, 30.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think I said 50.
Well, okay.
I was thinking 50.
I'm gonna say to you, I'm pretty sure you're gonna get a chance to buy back some of your stock. And this is again a technical.
Yeah, but see, this is you mistake me for a trader. I don't have the time to sit here and watch the chart and go like, oh, look, it's gone down below my purchase price. I should get in there and buy. I should stop doing a show. I should get on my phone and start buying stock instead. You know how long our audience would last if I started doing that, Ed? Not long. I can assure you of that because I've done it before. Anyways, so I've learned my lesson, and I'm not going to do that.
You're not trading anymore?
Well, a little bit here and there.
Well,
but
not here.
Not during shows. Well, I shouldn't say that. We proved that wrong the other night, too. That's why I'm not trading anymore, because I fat-fingered myself into an open market order.
Fat finger.
Fat finger. Anyways.
Gold finger.
Let's go back to the... let's go back and look at the major indexes.
You know what?
We're going to discount the... We're not going to look at the Canadian Cannabis Index because something's wrong there. It's out of whack.
Tell you what, you lend me some of those
CSE.
shares. You lend me some of your Charlotte Web shares. Lend them to me, and I'll pay it back in a month. I'll give the same shares right back. That's what short sellers do. So that's how it works, folks. You borrow your shares from a friend. He doesn't want to sell them. Say, hey, give me your shares. I'll sell them.
You sell them.
They drop. He buys them back. He's got his shares back, and he gives them back to you.
But what if 50 shares isn't 50,000 ain't enough to move the needle? What if there's a guy with a deep pocket sitting on the bid at 16, and the best you're going to do is $16? What are you going to do? And you're holding on there hoping for 14, and maybe just to piss you off because the guy's going to read the tea leaves and see you're short. He's going to jam it up to 18 just to make it hurt a little.
Jam it up.
So that's why I'm not there.
Okay, so that we looked at We looked at.
So now we're going to look at the CSE listed stocks. And the big loser on the CSE today is Rise Life Sciences.
Ticker?
RLSC. And we're going to try to look at and figure out why it's the big loser and whether that big loss is actually an opportunity. So look at this chart. Now we're looking at, look, what do you make of that chart, Ed? Has that thing ever really had a good run? No. No, it hasn't. No, it has not.
No.
And
there's
anyways,
only 59. Yeah, so that's a smaller one, right? That market cap $7 million.
Yeah. But we talked to Rise Life Sciences, and Rise Life Sciences is all about sexual health. So back to your point about
I get it. Rise.
Erectile dysfunction. I think that's the whole point of these guys. But it looks like maybe they can't really get it up
On the screen.
Well, the stock.
They can't get it up.
They can't get it up.
Maybe they should.
They got it up a bit here, but they couldn't keep it up.
Sprinkle some Rise on it.
Well, I suspect that's why they can't keep it up, is because maybe the Rise isn't quite working.
Yeah,
as well
you know,
as it
like this. If this is a
I've just been reminded that we're having a little bit too much fun here. Anyways,
okay, get to
talk about people who
I'm
know
not
how
gonna,
to have a good
no
time.
more smiling for me.
You know who's having a celebration tonight of their? And I'm gonna have to wipe that frown right off. Turn that frown upside down, friend. Anyways, I talked to Marc Lustig a short while ago about Origin House and why he changed the name from Canna Royalty to Origin House, and here's what he had to say. Hey, welcome back to Midas Letter Live. Joining me this segment again is Marc Lustig, CEO of Origin House, formerly Canna Royalty Corp, now trading on the CSE under the symbol OH. Marc, welcome back.
Thanks for having me, James.
Marc, let's start off with a question about what caused you to change the name from Canna Royalty to Origin House.
Well, it was really just the evolution of the business. We had started Canna Royalty as an investment platform, largely into the U.S., acquiring assets in all sorts of different states, mostly around branded products, manufacturing, distribution. As we started to do that and started to see opportunities in California to actually acquire businesses and be an operator, and now we're the largest operator in the state of California, the name Canna Royalty really didn't make sense anymore. We weren't a royalty company, and we weren't a passive investor via debt or equity. We were an operator. And so we went through a very significant process of figuring out what the brand should be. And Origin House for us represents a number of the cornerstones of what we're doing, like manufacturing, distribution, branded products, IP. So those are sort of our blocks that build that house. Mm-hmm. And clearly, as we continue to acquire more branded products, those are the members of our family that live in that house, and so that's sort of part of the rationale.
Sure. So you've got financial statements, third quarter coming out November 28th. How are those looking?
I think people will be pleased.
Okay. Understatement. It's understated as usual. Now, California is very quickly emerging as the leadership state in the whole cannabis complex in the U.S. And I'm looking at the depth and reach that Origin House has in the state of California. What is the competitive landscape for you like there? I mean, how do you differentiate yourself from the thousands of LPs and dispensaries and brands? I mean, what is it that is driving your success there?
Well, early on, we identified distribution and branded products as, let's call that the midstream. So there are cultivators here and there are retailers here, but someone's got to be the gatekeeper of making sure that those products get manufactured properly and they ultimately reach the shelves for consumers to buy. And that leaves the chunkiest part of the margin chain, but it's also the best way to view which branded products are going to be the winners. And so our strategy is that we built the distribution. We're the largest distribution company in the state. We now cover more than 75% of all dispensaries in the state of California, which no one else can say. And really, the second leg of that strategy is to pinpoint, because we're watching in real time which branded products are doing what, pinpoint those products as potential acquisition targets or certainly brand partners that can leverage off of the Origin House platform.
I see. So the strategy at this point has become to focus on California-only brands logistics, sales locations?
I'm glad you brought that up because, you know, a lot of your viewers would be hearing a lot about now U.S. cannabis companies that are so-called multi-state operators. These are companies that have licenses in a variety of different states. Our approach has been sort of the opposite, which is we focused on California. We knew that this is the biggest market. It's the most competitive. We also think it's where branded products really need to be originated from, just from a pop culture and sophistication of that market.
Sure.
And so it was our bet that if we dominated in California, then and only then would we have the wherewithal and discipline to drag that out and go into other places, not 15 states and then try and be good at all of those, which is, I can tell you, going to be difficult. Even when I started Canada Royalty and we had multiple just passive investments in different places, it was difficult, never mind just managing vertically integrated operations. So our approach was dominate California, then start expanding into other places. And so our acquisition of 180 Smoke in Canada was actually sort of going the other way to what everybody else has done, where we felt like we had reached a place of understanding in California that we could really leverage the 180 acquisition for the Canadian market.
Wow. Okay, so looking at the way that the U.S. market is maturing now, the forced resignation of Jeff Sessions and the sort of incremental spreading of medical marijuana legislation in additional 2 or 3 states, is that going to catalyze a sort of M&A environment in the United States where the larger, recently structured companies are going to look to sort of accelerate their progress in the industry through acquisition of companies that might be targets?
Absolutely. I mean, there are 2 comments that I would make. One is I've been saying since being on with you over the last couple of years that I thought that there would be continual progress in the U.S. as it relates to more states having some form of legalization. There's currently 2 acts in Congress right now that are gaining momentum. One's called the Farm Act and one's called the State Act, both of which would be hugely positive for the legislative environment. But the 2 comments are, first, every day we at Origin House see new players from other industries, whether they're tobacco or beverages, which has been very well covered, but nutraceuticals, even on the edges, some pharmaceutical companies taking a look, and that's just going to continue. The fact that Michigan is now a rec market as of 2 days ago is just more fuel on that fire. So that, you know, one part of it is other industries starting to look at acquisitions, but to your point, the M&A environment is very active right now. You saw a company called PharmaCann be acquired by MedMen several weeks back. You saw Ianthus acquire MPX, which happens to be a California platform. And, you know, to your point, I think some of these operators who have very large capitalizations are looking at how they can expand into some key states by making some strategic acquisitions.
I'm wondering, will federal de-prohibition of cannabis in the United States mean that all of the state operators are no longer constrained by state borders?
Yes, it would. I mean, it would instantly, depending on what the legislation looks like, it would instantly resolve the banking issue. And it would also resolve the logistics issue, let's call it, of not being able to manufacture and move product from state to state, which really changes everything. I mean, the way that we've approached our business at Origin House is the acquisitions that we've made and the platform that we've built, we see as a post-prohibition, you know, deschedulized market where we're manufacturing products in California that are going to the entire southwest of the United States. So we're thinking sort of ahead, just like a large multinational company in tobacco would think this is how they run their business. They have hubs, and so we do anticipate those walls, if you will, coming down, and we've planned accordingly.
So how will the state differentiated licensing rules affect the cross-border trade among states after de-prohibition? For example, in some states, one operator can be all things extractor, grower, product manufacturer. In other states, you're only allowed a combination of things. How is that going to play out in that environment?
Well, I think that it's probably a bit premature to be talking about full-blown descheduling or de-prohibition. The state act that I referred to earlier is my, and I think our advisors' best guess of what will happen next, which is that the state act really just gives the states the prerogative to run the program however they want, which would still, lead to progress on the banking side and some of the logistics side, but it also probably helps the brain damage that would be created by trying to unify 50 different states that have all been in some different type of form.
Sure. So you don't think the risk is very great that Donald Trump might recognize the opportunity inherent in declaring by executive order the de-prohibition of marijuana federally?
I think he actually gets it, and I'm sure he has a bunch of smart people who have done the math on votes and what the population says about their support for this. But I just think it's very complicated to bring something to deschedulizing it that quickly. And frankly, from the counter royalty perspective, I've said this often, the best case scenario for us is status quo.
Right.
Because we're building a platform that would be confused or we'd start to see competition like we've never seen before. If this descheduled tomorrow out of some act of surprise, then all of a sudden things would be highly competitive for things that we're looking to acquire, and we want a little bit more time just to keep building our value. So.
Okay, so there's no denying, and I'm not asking you this because I just look at your financials and I can see that you are an acquisition target for a large U.S. national cannabis company that will come out of the woodwork upon de-prohibition and perhaps sooner. If that was to occur, what would you do next?
I'm not sure. I'd probably rest a little bit. But I mean, the beauty of what we've built at Origin House has been how many different other companies and other types of relationships we've built. And I mean, it would depend on when and how that happened, but there's no shortage of opportunities for.
Can you talk about any of them by way of example?
Probably not.
Oh, okay. Darn, I tried. Okay, so then the evolution of the legalization in the United States to us in Canada appears, like it's 2013 in the U.S. and they're just getting their heads straight. So does that mean, we're looking at the companies that are operating in the U.S. listed in Canada, as well as the one or two companies that are listed exclusively in the U.S. and operating in the U.S., we're seeing the volumes of those stocks really start to far outweigh the volumes in the Canadian market issuers. So is it safe to say that the U.S. investor is all in on the market already, or is this just a taste of what's to come?
I think this is probably the most important trend that's starting to take shape for the investment side of the cannabis sector, which is that the U.S. market is 20 times bigger than the Canadian market, and there are 1/20th the number of companies to invest in, and so that should put in perspective where the money is flowing or should be flowing. And the reality is that the U.S. investor, aside from some very forward-thinking people who got their heads around this to come and invest into Canopy or Aphria or Aurora over the last couple of years, has been nowhere. And so I would say that if you want to use the baseball analogy, we're not even in the first inning yet of what the investor in the U.S. has exposure to right now. And then on top of that, those people are going to be looking to buy U.S. asset-based companies. And so when you start looking at how many of those there are, it's really less than 10 that are investable. And your point about volumes, that's starting to play out before. I think Canada Royalty and now Origin House was one of the first companies investing in the U.S. We started on the CSE. Our volume may have been 100, 200,000 shares a day. Now it's 2 million shares a day between both our U.S. listing and our Canadian listing. And there are, I think, 4 or 5 deals that are coming to the market in the next couple of weeks that are all U.S.-based companies that really the U.S. investor is starting to look at this sector, but they've been nowhere.
Right.
And Tilray would be a good example. You get a listing that U.S. investors can actually feel confident in buying, i.e. on the NASDAQ, and the thing goes from, 10 to 300 or something.
Right.
That should be a sign. I don't have an opinion on Tilray, but I'm just saying That should be a sign of how much pent-up investment appetite there is for a cannabis stock that gives someone U.S. exposure like our company.
All right, Marc. Well, as ever, very enlightening. We're going to leave it there for now and come back to you in due course. Thanks very much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
Interesting.
Yeah. So we're going to Marc's party tonight to celebrate the change in the name at Origin House.
I like it. What time does that party start?
That starts at 7 o'clock.
Let's get that party started.
Let's get that party started. Well, we will in 20 minutes.
You know what I noticed? You know what really is sold off here today is Curaleaf.
Well, everything is sold off today.
But that was the one that raised the $520 million. And if you recall, the first day of trading, it got down. It soared to $7.10.
Yeah.
And then all the way back to the issue price, through the issue price for some, and now taking on water.
Cura.
C-U-R-A.
Yeah, $9.50 a share.
Yeah.
But the executive chairman, Boris Jordan, is going to be giving a keynote speech at a conference down in Las Vegas.
When?
November 13th.
Is that a Friday?
Tuesday. Tuesday is the day that I'm having an online consultation with a medical practitioner to prescribe cannabis to me. You know why I'm getting prescribed and I'm joining the medical system?
The proper type of cannabis for your personality, which is extremely unique.
I don't know about that. Sounds like you want something. No. No, I'm going with the medical system because at this point, the recreational system is too unreliable in Ontario. I neither trust its labeling nor its packaging.
Or maybe you're just a bit too fussy.
Dave's a little too fussy.
Say it again.
We're talking about I'm talking about my medicine, Ed. I got to have my medicine, and it's got to be right.
Where does it hurt, James?
Everywhere. No, but seriously, I'm joining the medical system as a stopgap because at this point, here's the funny thing: recreationally, I don't think you can get cannabinoids in concentrations that are broad spectrum enough to incorporate all 114 cannabinoids.
Can you OD on cannabis?
Well, it depends how you define OD. Like, you can get so high that you don't want to see anybody and you are freaking out and you're paranoid and you think everybody's looking at you and, oh my God!
Yeah, but that's if you take an OD of THC.
Well, it depends on your...
What if you take an OD of CBD?
Well...
You just become more of a...
I don't know.
Guru.
So the one day I drank a whole bottle of CBDs, which was like 50 milliliters or something, because I wanted to see if I could detect an effect.
Was the label Smirnoff's by any chance?
No, Edwards. It was CBDs, not vodka. Anyways,
he's got some pills in one hand.
I did get a little bit
big glass
jittery.
of vodka, and he goes like this.
And then I'm thinking, geez, I don't feel quite right. There's something wrong with these CBDs.
Something wrong with my liquor bottle. It's empty.
Anyways, so yeah. Everything is down today. Cura, huge. Huge is down.
You know what's not down today?
What?
High Hampton.
High Hampton. High Hampton's not even on my list.
Can I ask you a question, just to fill in the
you can
viewers?
Ask me anything
about it's personal, but I'm not going to ask you quantities. I'm not going to ask you. I want to ask you, how many names would you say are in your portfolio of cannabis stocks in your personal, or say that you're involved in from an investment perspective? Like you've revealed to me today that you own some Charlotte's Web. I didn't know that. Now I know this. You only tell me about them when they're up?
No, I generally complain bitterly about them when they're down.
So do you have 5 names or more? I think we're going to go a little higher here, folks.
Yeah.
Take it up a notch. How about 10?
No, I think
15. Getting there.
I would say somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 cannabis names.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's impressive. So you're...
rich. No, just kidding. Most of them are down, Ed. I'm not rich, I'm poor. Plus, I've got to pay a huge tax bill this year, which is not going to be fun.
Really?
And I'm talking huge. Huge tax bill.
Huge?
Huge tax bill. I'm going to need to buy some more huge stock just to pay my
I don't
huge
think people
tax
like
bill.
paying taxes.
I love paying taxes.
You do?
I love paying taxes.
I love paying taxes.
I am so excited about paying taxes.
I love paying taxes.
And I basically can't wait to pay taxes.
I like to go to jump on a plane and go to Dallas, Texas.
Because you're the tax man. Yeah, you're the tax man. Oh my goodness, Edward.
What?
You got any more?
Yeah.
You got any more
I got
cheesy,
lots.
corny one-liners like that you obviously just made up on the spot?
No.
All right.
I used to think Dulles Airport and Dallas Airport were the same airport, but the commentator didn't know how to pronounce it.
That's what you used to think, is it?
Yeah.
I have nothing to add to that, Edward.
Okay.
I want to try to find a stock today that that didn't go down, that didn't get dragged down by the stone. That's another out-of-tune Pink Floyd tune for you. Anyways.
High Hampton's one.
High Hampton didn't go anywhere. It actually went up 3 cents.
Well, wait a minute. I said, they all went down. I said, no, I think I know when that went up. And I said, High Hampton. He said, it didn't go anywhere. Wait a minute. It went up 3 cents.
Yeah, well, I mean,
okay.
It went from 45 cents to 48 cents.
Well, that's like going from $45 to $48.
Let's pull. Okay, you're going to make me pull up the chart now. And we're going to have to talk about how insignificant it is to trade in such a narrow range.
I thought Christian did a good job when he was here, and he spoke about the changes becoming a new CEO.
Oh yeah, well they've had a couple of problems. They had that wingnut COO try to sue everybody, and put out a bunch of bullshit press releases.
Yeah.
And for that, he's going to spend more time in court and squander what is little of left of his puny fortune. But I don't think that's going to have long-term implications for High Hampton.
Yeah,
any cannabis company that's operating in the United States is basically got a price tag on it that at some point, when it goes de-prohibited in the U.S. and it's inching that way, they're a target.
They're a target.
They got 260,000 square feet of licensed real estate for cannabis growing in Coachella. Hello, Coachella. Does that ring a bell, Ed? You ever smoked dope?
Coachella.
Oh, that's probably why you don't remember. Yeah, Coachella.
Coachella County is where they
Festival.
have
Coachella Music Festival.
I think that's where they have music festival.
Whoa! Really? I had no idea.
Oh no! You're not obviously big into music.
No.
But I kept hearing somebody mumbling music festival. Was that you?
No, actually, who was it that was talking? Actually, Dave Bedini was here on our show. He wasn't on our show. Sorry, he was in the audience. Dave Bedini from the world famous Rheostatics, which is, some people don't know who they are, but I consider you un-Canadian.
Is he a musician?
Dave Bedini?
Yeah.
Is he a musician?
Yeah.
That's like saying, is the Pope a preacher? Like, yeah, he's a musician. He's a writer.
Do you know who the richest evangelical preacher, TV evangelical preacher is?
Did you just say something to me in English? Like I heard Billy Graham.
No.
Jesus Christ.
Kenneth Copeland.
Never heard of him.
He's a billionaire.
Yeah. And he's a preacher?
He actually said last
You will be saved!
Last Sunday he said he actually had a conversation with the big guy the day before.
The big guy?
Yep.
Who's the big guy?
I don't know. He said the big boy.
Who's he talking about? President Trump? President Trump's gone to heaven?
Yep. Okay.
Are you making fun of religious people
No,
again, Ed?
no,
Come
no,
on,
no,
come
no.
on. You're a believer, aren't you?
Now,
you're special, aren't you? You got special feelings for an imaginary
Let's just
friend?
say I got an invisible phone at home. Anyway,
awesome.
Look at this chart on High Hampton.
All right, let's show it.
I got it up here.
Yeah.
I got the chart up here.
Yeah. Yeah. Where's the volume? You need to tighten that up a bit. We can't see your volume, so you got to bring that chart in just a bit.
I can't do that.
You want me to hear? Let me.
That thing over for you. Tighten it up.
What you gotta do is you gotta just.
I don't think the volume is, but I like that.
Oh
big,
wait a sec. Is this a Microsoft product? In that case, there won't be any tightening it up because it just is never going to work properly because Bill Gates invented it or made it or stole it or something from some other guy. Probably it was an Apple product before he got his hands on it and fucked it right up. Anyways, that's not the point here. I can't make your screen smaller because I don't know how these so-called Microsoft products work. So we're going to have to do without the volume.
But the
Tell you
point,
what, let's switch to my computer and Apple, where you can see the volume. And see that? You got the volume there. You got your Bollinger Bands. You got your relative strength index.
I'm just going to put up a little...
Oh, you can draw on yours.
Yeah.
So what? Yours is for primary school children.
So look at...
And Apple is for creators.
So right there, and again, just saying, there's been you got a little level of resistance. But this is a great bottoming feature here.
Bottoming feature?
Well,
What do you mean by that, Ed? Bottoming feature?
Well, like, you know how
you were part
there's
of the
bottoming feeders in...
We are family.
Anyway, moving right along.
What are you drawing there, Edward? This is starting to look a little bit X-rated here.
A little pornographic, perhaps?
So is there some technical explanation to go along with your little doodads there? That's really cool.
No, that's how you'd look. You'd be looking like this if you say you sold it down here and you were sort of upset. So you'd be upset. But if you bought it down there...
Oh, no! I'd be smiling.
Look at this.
Boy, you'd look like you had a hair lip or something.
Gee.
What?
Going to show you.
You know what? Come on. What are you drawing here?
All right, you know what? Move right along.
Okay, so... So what was the outcome of that? Is this a buy, a hold, a sell? What is it?
If High Hampton can get through and close a little bit higher here, this whole pattern becomes extremely constructive. But right now, it's right at the level.
So don't tell me if it goes up, it's going up.
So if it's going up, it's going up.
And if it goes down?
So look, we got a
technical analysis, ladies and gentlemen.
Look at this. 3 blue. I was going to say balls, but they're not.
Edward. Jesus.
I meant a round object. What's a round object? A ball.
Sphere.
3.
Globe. Donut.
Well, this
Those
trend,
look like donuts.
Quite often and I want to show this, and this is very serious, ladies and gentlemen. There's a distinct trend there where it traded and all to the downside. Then it broke that down, but then broke back in and immediately broke through the upside.
Broke. Looks like a bit of a broke back mountain to me, Ed. With all that bottoming going on.
A lot of bottoming going on that mountain.
Anyway, what do the little squiggly donuts mean? What's that supposed to be? Why are you drawing?
I feel like my space is being...
I can't see now. I got to look up there like the others.
Like everybody else. Yeah,
Come on, I got ringside seats here. Okay, so what's with the 3 dots? Like, what's the significance?
Well, look, it hit there once. The next day it went through, came back, hit there twice, came back, hit there 3 times. If it can get through here, I'd say you got to break out.
So we should buy it now?
You know what? That's the problem with...
What if it goes to below where that green candle bottomed out with the tail? Then what would you say about having bought it now?
You can say that about anything.
Oh, that's a really good escape.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna try to get a little bit more serious here in the last 7 minutes of our show, Edward. Hope you don't mind. We're gonna go back to the whoops.
I like this. Okay, let's see what else I can draw up here. Give me another one.
Okay.
Name that tune.
Planet 13 Holdings, PLTH on the CSE. Planet 13. Now this is the company that we're going to go down and shoot a video of.
I understand they have a entertainment emporium in Lost Wages.
Lost Wages. They actually do have a entertainment and education complex.
And is it the CSX or CNX?
CSE, but on the symbol on this platform, it's the CNX.
Okay, Planet 13.
So let's do a little bottom feeding here.
Okay. So just again, a trend. I blew it. I'll get it back here. I'll get it back, folks.
Ding, 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 ding.
Here we go. Watch this.
Yeah. Everybody's patiently waiting for some education. What's going on? Whoa, what are you doing there, Ed?
I don't know.
Jesus Cristo.
Oh, here we go.
Oh.
Here we go. Okay. So there's your trend that was breached. Here. Breakout. Okay? You can see how that broke the pattern here. And now we've moved up here into new territory on news. However,
on what news?
Well, isn't this the opening of the of the entertainment?
Good point. The news that
okay. So then, we had a bad day today, but everything was bad. So I don't know.
Well, but then the next day,
I don't like to see a breakout and then. Usually, it could pull back here maybe to the high $2 level, but it's got to find a bid.
Okay, so here's my point, Ed.
What's the market cap of this baby?
I don't know, but I'm trying to make a point.
Okay.
I'm hoping to do so before the last part of the show without too much of an interruption, but I am modestly optimistic. I'm going to go to the portfolio manager now. And I'm going to pull up the, oh, no, that's not what I want. I want this. Oh my gosh. Okay. MLCSC, MLCC. This is not working for me here. 1 second. Charts advance. MLCSE. MLCC. Okay, look at this is going to work. Not a valid symbol. Of course it's not. Anyways, in a previous life, we would be able to look at. So look at this ETF, Ed.
HMMJ.
HMMJ. So here's the thing: the ETF is down what? Down slightly. Not 10%. Maybe 10%.
Today?
Down, yeah. Down, what is it down? Oh, man.
Okay.
So here's my point. This is the first day that we've seen a reversal.
That's the first day, yeah.
Since this recovery back that started here.
Right.
So this occurs on a day where by all fundamental measure, this should have been a banner day to the upside because of the Trump firing of Jeff Sessions, who has been uniformly regarded as one of the biggest barricades to legalization in the United States at the federal level. Now, my question here is, Ed, was there anything in this technical on the using HMMJ as our example? Was there anything here technically to suggest that this was going to happen today?
Well, look, I'm skeptical, as you know, of the whole valuation of these stocks. Okay,
Yeah.
but that's just from my
Yes,
my
that's 'cause
accounting.
you're just a cynical.
It's you know what. Yeah, maybe I feel like
hate
I've
everybody.
been left out.
You're going to go to the garden.
Someone took my baseball.
You're going to go to the
They
garden
said,
and eat worms.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I understand.
No,
how
you know what?
feel.
I thought about last night. I was thinking, with the election, Sessions gets fired. He's anti-dope. Does this augur well for cannabis legalization in the United States? And I say, yay. And yet today they sold off almost as much as they went up yesterday.
Yeah.
But there's nothing happened. It was just all innuendo or all conjecture, all hyperbole.
Yeah, but back to the question.
So the question is, I would say, looking at that pattern that started 8 days ago, 9 days ago, 10 days ago, I'd say it's still intact, so to speak. In other words, if this thing can rally tomorrow, like the whole sector, then we're fine. But if this thing starts to breach, then that pattern, that distinct 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 day pattern, it looks like it's gonna quickly roll over, and I don't think that's good.
No, that's the pessimist in you talking. Now, what happens if a major fundamental driver comes along sector-wide and, for example, let's just say that the guy in the White House issues a executive order proclaiming cannabis federally legal. What do you think that's going to do for the potential of a continued rollover to the downside? No, Donald Trump doesn't. Donald Trump just waves his wand and then says, "You guys figure it out." That's why he's the wild card. He could do that, and it's not outside of the realm of possibility. Nor is it outside the realm of my expectation? Because I can guarantee you, he's probably read that piece in the Wall Street Journal by that guy saying, Donald, what are you doing? You're handing the opportunity to the Canadians. Donald hates nothing more than to be criticized for giving up an economic opportunity to someone else. Anyways, that was our show this week. Don't forget, next week we have mixed martial arts fighter Elias Theodorou is going to be here. We're going to have all kinds of fun things. And don't forget that if you want to catch any of these little bits, you can go to YouTube/Midas Letter Clips and watch just the clips. It's the new channel where we put all the clips, because that's where the clips are going to go. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.